Welcome to The Right Stuff. I'm Sheena, and today I'm joined by, you'll never guess, it's Tamara!
Surprise!
Welcome to the show! It's your first time and you're new and...
Such an honor.
Oh, thank you. Well, you know, it's me. I'm honourable.
You're so weird.
Okay, so today we're talking about one of my favourite months of the year, November. The reason it's one of my favourite months of the year is not because it's the month just before Christmas. Sorry, Claire. Because you know Claire Lyden's already going on about Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she like literally gives you a daily update. Today it's X amount of days away from Christmas. I think she might like Christmas. Anyway, it's not the reason for today's podcast. Today's podcast is because of NaNoWriMo,
National Novel Writing Month.
which is what it started off being. So it started off in the US, hence the national, and now it's grown into an international thing, and you even get it here in South Africa.
Yes, and if you get it here, then it's definitely global.
Absolutely, because we get nothing here. Like, I just, the other day, for the first time, had a pumpkin spice drink, because that's the first time we got it here.
Yay, Krispy Kreme.
Yes! Alright, so NaNoWriMo is a month, it happens in the month of November, and the goal is to write a 50,000 word novel during that month.
Mm-hmm. The whole thing is to get people to write and to actually finish a project, because if you are a aspirant writer, you know it's very easy to start lots of projects, but it's very hard to actually ever finish them.
Absolutely. So the goal for NaNoWriMo is to get the novel written.
Yes.
First draft done, in the bag, during the month of November.
Mm-hmm. And the only rule is that you do need to hit your 50,000. That means that you've won Nano.
And you can only count the words that you've written during November. Having said that, nobody's policing you. They aren't like, oh no, we're going to wrap you over the nose. There's no police on this thing. It's all just for your own account.
And when you win, you don't actually win like a prize. You win the satisfaction of knowing you finished.
Well, there's a nice little video when you win where everybody's cheering for you, and then
Sure.
you feel like the champion of the world because, woohoo, I made NaNoWriMo.
And there are a few goodies that you get, like discount codes and stuff. So,
True.
So there are a few small things, but really your biggest prize is actually finishing.
Okay, so today we're here to explain to you a little bit about what Nano is and to give you tips
on how to succeed with Nano.
Because we're at the point in October now where it's a great time to sign up for Nano for November and to plan your novel. And that's actually the first tip.
So there are two types of writers in the world. There are your planners, which is quite, self-evident from the word planning. But then there are your pantsers. And these are people who write from the seat of their pants. Now, my first NaNoWriMo, I was a pantser, which means that I went in with no story that I knew that I was going to write. I didn't know who the characters were. And as I sat down, I just wrote and wrote and wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I did finish and I did win my Nano, but it was quite difficult.
Much more difficult than the second year where we actually sat down and planned something. We kind of had a concept of more or less what we were going to write, and we sort of had an idea of characters.
Yes. So when you're sitting down to plan, you need to know what your story is going to be about.
Know how your story ends, because
Exactly.
My biggest problem always is the ending. I have a great idea for a story, but I never quite know how it's going to end, and I always think to myself, okay, well, when I get there, it'll just become self-evident. It never does.
So when you're doing Nano, plan in a lot of detail, because you'll use this skeleton as your point while you're writing, and it will just make writing a lot easier because you know where you're going and you're just filling in the blanks. And if you don't know how to plan a novel, there are tons of resources. There's resources on Nano itself and in other places on how to plan a story.
If you plan nothing else, plan the following. What is your main character's character arc? Where does your main character start and where does she end?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what happens to her to make her change her belief structure or her personality or something that needs to change, right? So she can start off being shy and go to suddenly being okay with talking to that sexy girl next door because of whatever happened in the story. So you plan your character arc and plan the major beats of the story. So know that you're going to write a romance. Know that she's going to have an incident where she stumbles and falls and her neighbor catches her. Know that whatever, plan the major beats of the story.
Yes. Know when she's going to run into problems, when those problems are seemingly fixed. Plan out exactly what's going to happen in the story.
But if you don't want to plan in too much detail, plan at least those things.
And if you need help, there are writer's beat sheets. So just Google romance beat sheet or mystery beat sheet, whatever, and you'll get a outline to a novel's plan.
Which is kind of awesome.
Yeah, and that is very helpful.
Right, so your goal is to write 1,600 and I think it's 67 words a day.
Yes.
More or less. And that will get you to your 50,000 words within the 30
Yes.
days.
So that's the second point, is write every single day.
Yes, but it's a little more complicated than that, the point, because my suggestion is going to be to write a little bit more in that first week. So start your first week of Nano off strong. Make sure that first day, if you can write 3,000 words on that first day, do it. If you can write 5,000 words on that first day, do it. For the rest of the week, try to get 2,000 words, just over that 1,600, and I'll tell you why. Nano is very much like a marathon. You want to start off strong, so that when you have the time when you need that extra bit of a break, as you're going up a hill,
you have the
wiggle room.
Yes. It's very important to be consistent, because a lot of people will start off strong and then they will miss a day because, I don't know, they feel tired or because they're feeling sick or whatever it is. That is the biggest danger with Nano, is feeling like you'll just make up for it. And it hardly ever happens, because writing is hard. It's not easy. And today you have 1,600 words to write and you decide to miss tomorrow. The next day you're going to have to write, I don't know, my math is bad, but almost 3,000 words.
More than 3,000 words.
So,
and it mounts up fast.
Super fast. So be consistent.
Don't skip a day. If you can only write 200 words that day, write the 200 words. Don't ever skip a day, because you're going to lose the momentum of writing.
And it also depends on how fast you write, because I know for me to reach about 2,000 words a day, I need 2 to 3 hours to do it. Okay, but that's not always something that I can do. So maybe I need to take half-hour breaks where I write for little bits of half hours.
Yes.
So write when you can. If you commute via bus or train or something like that, maybe write on your phone. So just, write where you can so that you make it easy on yourself.
Well, 50 Shades of Grey was written on a BlackBerry.
I know, if you can write something on a BlackBerry, you can write anything on another smartphone.
The next thing is to join your region.
So with Nano, you can join up on the website, and that's how you're, participating in it. And then you're able to join a region. And this can either be a country, a province, a state, a city. It really depends on how many people are participating wherever you are.
Yes. And then you will have a municipal liaison, an ML, who will sort of coordinate events and so on in your region.
And go to those events, participate.
It's so much fun, because what literally happens is you go to a coffee shop, you sit with a whole bunch of other writers, and you literally sit down and write your words for the day. You order yourself some coffee, you take a break every now and then, you talk to the person next to you, you'll do word sprints, you'll do other fun activities, and you'll just you'll start to understand your writing craft from a very different kind of a perspective when you join in and have the fun activities that come with.
Yeah, and one of the nicest things for Nano for me is the sense of community. It's not something that I was expecting of it, but it's something that's there and something that I love about it. You have this community that knows exactly what you're going through, because they have the exact same goal you do. So it's not like if you're talking to someone at work and they're like, well, what does it matter? It's a voluntary thing. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But someone who's doing Nano gets it.
Writers are a different breed as well, and so you get to experience people who love reading and who love writing, and it's so wonderful to be part of a community of people with intelligent thoughts.
And if you love having conversations about how stupid Oxford commas are, or I'm going to get a lot of flack for that one, or whether Scrivener over Word, or if you love that kind of a thing, go to Writing.
It actually is just so worth it. Try writing. Even if you're a complete introvert, you'll be surrounded by other introverts. It's actually fun.
And a great thing about Nano, and there's an online community as well. So on the Nano website, you have to sign up, you create a profile, but then you have an access to the global forums, but also access to regional forums. And it's a great place to keep in touch with people, but also to ask questions, because if you have something specific that you just don't know, like what's the layout of streets in Transylvania for your vampire novel, you can actually go onto a forum and ask someone, and they'll probably be someone who knows. There are so many experts. There are doctors, engineers, lawyers. I don't know. There's tons of people on Nano.
And there's actually so many amazing people who really just want to help you out
Yes.
there. Also on Nano provides you blogs, videos, tips and information pretty much daily from writers who are actually publishing.
Yes.
And editors and just a range of really interesting people. So get involved. Go sign up right now. Go make a profile. Spend the rest of the month planning your book, and you will succeed. You can win, Nano. You can do this.
50,000 words is a lot, but it's not actually that much. A lot of professional writers do far more than that in a month.
Well, look at Hopper Bliss. Hopper Bliss is churning out 8 books a month.
Yeah, the one group that I belong to, there's a writer who does 150,000 words every 2 weeks. And I was just, how?
Well, because you can do it. It's totally possible. And Nano gives you a lot of tools that you can then use later in your writing.
It's a great way to practice being a writer.
Absolutely. Your first book, if this is your first book, is probably not going to be
great.
A publishable book.
So set your expectations. Know going in that your NaNoWriMo novel, particularly if it's your first one, this is a first draft, first off, okay? It's not going to be perfect, and it's probably not going to be publishable. But be okay with that, because what Nano gives you is the ability to see that you can actually finish a writing project.
Absolutely.
It also gives you a time when you're writing consistently every day. And for a writer, it's super important to be writing every day, because the more you write, the better you get.
Yeah.
So,
and the more you're going to overcome writer's block.
Yes. Yes, with Nano, you learn very quickly. You've got no luxury for writer's block. If you don't have 3 weeks to be thinking about one point, or, oh my God, I can't write. You don't have the luxury.
You just sit down and write this book. And that's why you want a detailed plan, so that when you do sit down, you know exactly what you're going to write for that day, and you make it happen.
Yeah. And if you do get writer's block on a particular point, you can move on to the next point, because you've already plotted, so you know you can always come back to the one that you were stuck on. So do that. Now, an important thing with NaNoWriMo is making sure that you're keeping track of your progress. Now, a very nice way to do this is that on the Nano website there is a word track counter, and every day you go up and you update how many words your novel is at, and then it fills in a graph, and this graph shows you where you are versus your goal. It shows you the average of words you're going to write a day, and also when you're going to be finishing your novel. So if you're super behind, it will tell you, hey, you're scheduled to finish this on the 5th of December. And then you know, I need to pick it up a little bit.
And it's just so much fun watching your book come together, because this little graph shows you, you started with nothing, and now you're 20,000 words in, and you're like, how did I get 20,000 words? This is amazing.
I know. I think with us, in the first week, I'm just like, oh my God, I've got 50,000 words to go. And the last week is like, can you believe it? I've already done 45,000 words.
Absolutely.
And it's in the space of 4 weeks, which is nothing.
It takes consistency, it takes plotting, it takes planning, and it actually takes the process of Nano. Follow the process. Go to the events. I can't tell you how it makes a huge difference.
It makes a big difference. A lot of people that I've seen, who've written posts or have spoken on podcasts and stuff about not finishing Nano, it's because they didn't actually participate fully in Nano. They did the writing part, or at least attempted the writing part, but they didn't participate online or offline in the events.
It's a very different creature. It's a very different creature to participate in the actual events, to be part of the community. There's a motivation and a force behind it.
And there's so much energy at the events. It really does help you. And at the events, they teach you how to do word sprints or other writing techniques, which really help you speed up. So go to them. Now, part of achieving your goal is to not edit as you write. And yes, I know that editing is an important part of a finished novel, but of a finished novel. This is your first draft. Your one job is to finish it, to hit those 50,000 words. So just write. It doesn't matter if there are typos. It doesn't matter if there's something that you want to change or if you need to add research. Put a note to yourself in brackets, but don't edit. Just keep writing.
That's probably the biggest tip to winning nano, because when you start with the editing cycle, you stop with the creating words cycle, and then you end up actually taking words away from a project, and it just demotivates you, and your balloon goes from full and happy down to like
sad balloon.
Sad balloon, right?
Yeah. So just imagine you've spent 2 hours writing, and you've hit your, say you've hit 3,000 words for the day because you're on a major roll, and now you start editing, and you chip away to the point where now you've only got 500 words left.
Yeah, and that's totally possible, especially on a scene you don't like or want to change. Bad idea. Don't edit. Just keep writing.
Just keep writing.
It's like Dory. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Except it's just keep writing. Just keep writing.
Okay, and then the last tip, which will seem like a silly tip, but it's actually a super amazing tip, is to make a cover for your book.
And a blurb, I think. Your synopsis and your cover are going to motivate you to keep going, because it looks like there's a final product. It looks like this is something I can achieve.
It's visualization. People use this for all sorts of goal setting. So this is just this for nano. So you create your cover. It's there. This is the future. This is the possibility that you have.
Plus, it's really awesome when somebody says, oh, what you're writing about, and you can show them on the Nano site, this is my cover and this is the synopsis, and then they go, wow, that's a book I would read. Then that, that feels really good.
It's true. It really does. It's nano. You can do it. 50,000 words is totally doable. But all you have to do is start and finish.
We're going to have some fantastic links in the show notes for places where you can go buy yourself a book cover if you really want to. Otherwise, just... I'll also add some links to sites where you can get free stock photos. And
maybe we'll link some of our favorite writing books. There's a few that we really like.
Actually, that's a really great idea. But go right now. Stop this podcast. Go sign up for Nano after you have liked this podcast on iTunes.
That really helps other people find us.
Yes.
So please go do that.
Now, I'm really hopeful the Hopper Bliss and her missus is back next week. I'm holding thumbs on that. Or crossing fingers. I believe that's the overseas version of holding thumbs.
Apparently.
I'm Sheena.
And I'm Tamara.
And we're going to go sign up for Nano right now.
Well, we already signed up. We just need to go.
No, but now we're going for this year.
Yes.
Because we haven't done that yet. But I do have a cover and a synopsis already for my book.
I'm behind. You're like super ahead.
I'm very stoked this year. I'm writing a horror. Bye.
Bye.